Welcome, everybody, to the College Football Weekly Pick'em Show here on the Grueling Truth Radio Sports Network. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and I want to remind everybody that we have a deal with MyBookie.ag, which I think they're the best betting website out there. So I want to make sure that everybody knows to go to MyBookie.ag. You can click on our banner, or you can use promo code TGT50. That's TGT50 to get a 50% bonus up to $3,000 that you deposit. Of course, I said I'm the host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now I want to welcome in my co-host. First up, he was the big loser. He was the Oz last week, Brian Schmidt.
Wow, man, that hurts. That really does hurt.
Well, you were 6-7. Me and Bill were 7-6. So now you're a game up on me and 2 up on Bill. So we're closing the gap.
That hurts.
That's close. That is close.
And, of course, Bill is former Alabama offensive lineman in the late 70s, early 80s for Bear Bryant's Tide. Bill Searcy. How you doing, Bill?
Good, man. Had to squeak one out last night.
Me and you tied for first, so we won last week. And we're about to catch Bryant. All right, let's start off with this. What I called into the show, you both were discussing your top 4, who you think the top 4 will be. Let's do it this way. Who do you think the top 4 should be, Brian?
Alabama, Miami. I'll put Clemson in there, and I'll put Oklahoma in there. I think my next 2 coming out. I'm still going to put Georgia, in that 5 or 6 hole, and I'm going to put Auburn there. I know people are going to look at Wisconsin and say Wisconsin's 10-0. I'm not sold that they're a top 4 team.
Their biggest win was against Iowa at home.
Yeah, I'm just not sold. Now, obviously, that can change. I mean, they went out when, now maybe that changes things. But right now, I think the top 4 is fairly clear. And, now, I'm still going to put Georgia in and maybe put them at 6, and I'll put Auburn at 5. I think, the Auburn Alabama game is going to be a tremendous, a huge implication on the playoff.
Yeah, and the good thing for Alabama, Auburn, and Georgia, Brian, is they'll get to decide that on their own.
Exactly.
Bill, what's your final 4 right now?
Well, let's see. I think I'm not sure if my top 4 is the same as Smitty. That's Alabama. I don't know. Alabama, Oklahoma, Miami, and Clemson. I differ with y'all a little bit on Wisconsin, although I know they haven't had any great wins. But I got Wisconsin number 5 on mine.
Yeah, I would agree with you, too. I would put them at 5. I mean, hopefully we find out something when they play Michigan. Hopefully they play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. But then those wins aren't as big as what they could have been. So you've always got that. And I think the big thing, Bill, is my 1 is Alabama, 2 Miami, 3 Oklahoma, 4 Clemson. My 5 would be Wisconsin. But the one thing there that really gets me is what happens if Alabama beats Auburn and Georgia beats Alabama? Does the SEC then take up 2 spots?
I don't know. That's a tough one, man. What happens if Auburn beats Alabama?
Yeah, and then Georgia beats Auburn.
Or if Auburn beats Alabama and Auburn goes to the SEC, beats Georgia, what happens then? They'll have 2 losses.
Because then it's hard to put somebody in that wasn't even in the conference championship game.
Right.
And the one good thing is Miami and Clemson will get to decide their bid between the 2 of them.
See, I don't think Georgia is as bad as they played yesterday, nor do I think Auburn is as good as they played yesterday.
No, and I think people have a tendency to overreact to one-game situations.
Yeah, so I think we said Wisconsin 5, and if I'm going to go 6 and 7, I think Georgia and Auburn are kind of interchangeable right now until something else happens. But
yeah, but you got to put Auburn ahead of them because they did whip their ass yesterday.
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll get to find out more about Auburn. If Auburn goes and beats Alabama, I mean, then it's going to be hard to argue with them.
That shakes it up, man.
I think this is a year, though, where I know all three of us have talked about this for over a year, that this would be the perfect year to have a 16-team tournament.
Definitely need more than what we got this year.
And I think it's safe to say, Brian, that Baker Mayfield's pretty much won the Heisman Trophy, hadn't he?
He would have my vote. I mean, I don't know where you can really look at anybody else right now. I mean, he's turned it. He played at a high level early, and I think if anything, I mean, he's turning it on right now and just playing at an even higher level. So, I think you definitely have your Heisman Trophy winner, and I'm wondering if he's not going to be, a number one pick.
Oh my God, a Cleveland Brown. Bill, you agree, or do you? I mean, my biggest question is who would even be second right now? Because Barkley's dropped off, Love has dropped off a little bit. I mean, to me, the guy that stands out there to me is that the receiver from West Virginia that's got like 18 touchdown receptions. Was it David Sills?
Yeah, I think Baker Mayfield's. To me, he's got it locked right now because he has been playing at such a high level. And he plays great in these big games. And, hey, look, if it wasn't for Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma would be in trouble because they don't have a defense. So you got to score 50 points a game to win.
Well, see, I've seen Oklahoma this year where they had a defense. So and against TCU, I mean, the defense wasn't that bad against a really good TCU squad. I think people forget just how good offensively Oklahoma State and Mason Rudolph is, Brian.
Yeah, I mean – Oklahoma State, I mean, they can score points with anybody. And again, I mean, this is, kind of a changing of the subject, sort of, but this may be a pretty decent quarterback class coming into the draft, which I think is going to be the first time in a while where there's actually some potentially decent quarterbacks.
I think there's some potentially franchise quarterbacks. I think there's multiple guys in here that could be.
I mean, it's been a while since we've seen a very huge group of potential first round franchise quarterbacks in the draft. It's been a while.
Yeah, because people are usually reaching for him. But if you look here, I think legitimately you could see 10 quarterbacks drafted in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, I think when you look at NFL teams that are in need of a quarterback, I mean this is the draft where you got to really start. You got to look and get your guy. I mean, Pittsburgh obviously being one. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there. I mean, this is where you got to go get your guy.
Yeah, and it sets up perfect for a team like Pittsburgh with an older quarterback, or I mean, there's a ton of them out there, and really, I think there's 5 or 6 guys better than anybody outside of Deshaun Watson that was in this quarterback draft.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a great year for quarterback play in college football. So hopefully that translates into the professional part of it and with the draft and stuff, because Lord knows the NFL needs quarterbacks right now.
All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start picking the games this week. We're going to start off in the SEC, where the Kentucky Wildcats travel to Georgia, where they're going to meet a group of angry Bulldogs, I think, Bill. Georgia's favored by 22. What do you think?
I'm going to – that's a lot of points, man. I'm going to pick Georgia. I'm hoping they can bounce back after this week. I'm not real positive on the pick I'm making, but I'm going to take Georgia on this one.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm going to take Georgia. I'm kind of the same way with Bill. I'm not real positive on the pick because I think it's a lot of points, and Kentucky, is not a terrible football team, but you've got all the ingredients here to meet that point spread. You've got a Georgia team coming off a loss. They're going to be mad. They're going to be angry. They're playing at home. this is where at this time of the year, when you've got that first loss, you're still in the area code to be in the playoffs. So now you've got to make your run. And let's be honest, people say, well, it doesn't matter if you win by 1 or 21. Well, no, it does. And certainly beating Kentucky by, 25, 30, 35 points, that, it can do nothing but at least help in the eyes of people and what you're doing. So I think Georgia's going to win this game by a big time margin.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Kentucky I don't think is as good as what I thought they could be at the start of the year. And if Georgia is as good as we think, this should not be a problem covering this. The next game, we got the Texas Longhorns at West Virginia. West Virginia is only favored by 3. And I think on mybookie.ag, I'm going to jump all over this, Brian. I'm taking West Virginia, and I'm giving the points.
Yeah, I agree. That's when you might want to call your neighbor and have your neighbor jump on that one.
Yeah, I might just do that one myself.
There you go.
That's how sure I am, Bill. You agree with us?
I agree with you. I think that's a lock, I think.
All right, Bill, make sure you don't succumb to peer pressure so much, all right? Next up, we've got the Oklahoma Sooners at the Kansas Jayhawks. Oklahoma's favored by 35. This is a rematch of the 1988 NCAA basketball championship game where Danny and the Miracles beat Oklahoma. Brian, do you think that Kansas can win like they did in the 1988 NCAA basketball championship?
No, not even a little bit. If Kansas wins this will be one of the bigger upsets.
Now, can they cover the spread?
No. This is going to be an old Oklahoma butt whooping. All
right, Bill, you agree?
I agree. Baker Mayfield will continue on his Heisman run, and he's going to run up some big numbers. So, yep, Oklahoma's the pick.
Well, and make that good for all three of us. The next game, Schmidt. Your Texas Tech Red Raiders are at home against TCU. The Horned Frogs are coming off of a big-time loss against Oklahoma. TCU's favored by 6 at the Red Raiders. What do you think, Brian? Now, this is a conundrum. If you listened last week, Brian always picks the Air Raid team or Gary Patterson, and now they're playing each other.
I know, and
so
I
do I. So I've got the same thing. That's why I figured I'd let you go first.
I can't really pick a tie here. So
you can if you want. Oz did on the NFL Pick'em show once.
Yeah, but ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna pick TCU. And again, the biggest thing with Texas Tech is just, unfortunately, they come out, start the year, and this has really been under Kingsbury. They come out, start the year like gangbusters, and all of a sudden they just go in a hole. And
yeah, but don't you think a lot of that's got to do with the schedule being a lot easier to serve this season?
It does to a point, but it's. They really, when you watch them play early and then you watch them play later, I mean, it just doesn't look the same. Their talent level, I don't know, is where they need it to play with, a lot of the Big 12 teams the way they'd like to. I don't think they're quite there yet. And, that's going to come down. I think, Kingsbury's in his third year or fourth year. So now, it starts coming down that, how long are they going to hang with, a guy that was, a huge deal at Texas Tech as a player. So, but TCU, again, this kind of comes down to the thing where TCU is going to, come out and want to try to make this thing happen. I'm still not sure that TCU. I don't know how great they'll play in this game coming off that loss to Oklahoma, but I don't have the confidence in Texas Tech to win this game.
All right, that was one of those long Oz answers. I'm going to go with TCU also. I'll give the points. How about you, Bill?
Yep, going with TCU too because I hadn't paid any attention at all to Texas Tech, so I'm taking TCU.
All righty. The next game, the Ohio State Buckeyes favored by 38 over Illinois. I'll start this off, and that's a lot of points. But Illinois is not very good. Ohio State's awesome against teams that aren't very good. So I'm going to take the Buckeyes. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll take Ohio State. This is you're right. I mean, they do this against teams that are not very good. But the other thing here is I know coming out of Columbus, coming into Michigan State, though this was an angry football team, and they're going to play angry the rest of the year. And even if that doesn't mean they're going to make it to the playoffs, they definitely want to win that Big Ten title. So they're going to whip on Illinois pretty bad.
All right, Bill, you agree?
Yeah, I'm taking OSU. Just like Brian said, I think they're going to continue to play mad the rest of the year, no matter what happens. So I got to take OSU.
All right, the next game, the University of Alabama Birmingham at Florida. Florida is favored by 10. Bill,
I'm taking UAB.
And you know what, Bill? So am I.
Yeah. Florida.
Brian?
Yeah, that'll make sense.
Florida sucks. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. They suck. Bill or Brian?
Yeah, that's three of us. This definitely a game that I think UAB can win. It is coming off of not playing for a couple of years. It's been a very good. They've been a very good football team at times to watch. They're definitely a team that in the next couple of years they will. They'll contend for a conference championship.
They're bowl
I had a Florida writer that I know fairly well that swears to me that Chip Kelly is almost a done deal in Florida.
No
that
kidding.
would be huge for them.
Yeah, he's a great recruiter. Could you imagine him getting to recruit the state of Florida?
Wow.
Yeah. Might be a team in the East that could play with Alabama then. Next game.
Yeah.
This is a good matchup. SMU is a good football team. They travel to Memphis, whose only loss was to undefeated Central Florida. Memphis is favored by 11, Bill. Or Brian. It's Bill first. So.
Who is this again? Because you were cutting out. Who is this?
SMU at Memphis.
Okay.
Memphis by 11.
I got the SMU part, but the Memphis part wasn't coming. I'll take Memphis may win this game, but I think it's a lot of fun. I'm going to take SMU to play this thing close, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win it.
Bill?
You said 11?
11.
11? I'm taking SMU with 11, man. I think they'll cover that.
And I am going with Memphis. And I have respect for SMU. I just think Memphis is legitimately a top 20 team. Bottom part of the top 20, but I think they're a legitimate top 20 team. And SMU's defense is not very good. Memphis has got a really good quarterback. Another guy that's probably going to be drafted pretty high this year, so I'm going to go there. Next game, the Virginia Cavaliers at the Miami Hurricanes. The U is back, Bill, and they're favored by 17.
Yeah, I'm taking the U. That's easy. To me, that's an easy pick. I think they're on a roll.
I'm going to go with Virginia, and I'm going to take the 17 points because my thing is this. I still don't think Miami's real good offensively. I think they may have the best defense in the country. I think they're a legitimate top 4 team right now. But Virginia's played better as of late. And, 17 points is a lot, especially when you're coming off an emotional win like they had Saturday night against Notre Dame, Brian.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna take Miami. I think that 17 is a lot of points, especially on the road, especially after a big win. But the difference being is it's been so long since Miami has been here. They're a team right now playing on a huge mission, and they're a team right now that's playing at that high level and that mindset that they don't want anything to come in between what the goal is, and that's to play for national championship. So I saw a lot of the old Miami swagger. You're seeing more and more of that, and they believe they're going to walk in and blow teams out just like they did back in the late 80s and early 90s. So I think they'll cover that.
All right, the next game, Kansas State at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's favored by 17. I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State. It's a lot of points. I think Kansas State's a well-coached team, but I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State. Mason Rudolph may be the number 2 guy for the Heisman right now. Bill?
Yeah, I'm going with Oklahoma State too. They've got a good quarterback, and they're playing. You said playing at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Oklahoma State.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. Mason Rudolph is not the quarterback, and they can put up points with anybody. So I think this is definitely Oklahoma State's going to win this game and win it pretty handily.
All right, the next game, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who really miss Tom Osborne, at Penn State. Penn State's favored by 24. Is there anybody here that thinks Nebraska will stay within 24 points of Penn State?
Nope, not me. No.
All right. There's not too many real competitive games this week, are there? All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and catch a word from our sponsor, MyBookie.ag. We'll be back with the College Football Weekly Pick'em Show after this.
Hey, everyone. My name is Alex Golden. I am the host of the Courtroom Podcast, an NBA debate show here at The Grueling Truth. And I'm here with one simple message. If you're watching the games, it's time to start making money. The Grueling Truth has partnered with MyBookie.ag, an industry-leading sportsbook website who reminds you that where you bet is just as important as who you're betting on. And that's why The Grueling Truth urges you to check out MyBookie.ag. In addition to the usual thousands of odds, money lines, proposition bets, and futures offered on MyBookie.ag daily, they also have in-game live betting and a mobile site that makes wagering on the go easier than ever. So join now, and MyBookie.ag will give you a 50% bonus on first deposit for up to $3,000 in extra playing money. Just enter promo code TGT50. That's TGT50 to take advantage of this offer. Visit MyBookie.ag, courtesy of the Grueling Truth Network, and enjoy winning today. MyBookie.ag. You play, you win, you get paid.
All right, guys, we're back with the College Football Weekly Pick'em Show, brought to you by MyBookie.ag on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, sitting here with former Alabama offensive lineman Bill Searcy and Brian Schmidt. We are to our last 6 games to pick for the week. Next up, we've got Navy at Notre Dame. Notre Dame favored by 18.5. I'll start this off. I'm taking Navy. Brian, are we going to stick with what we always do with option teams?
Yes, I'm taking Navy as well. Their recent history against Notre Dame has been very good, especially against point spread. And to me, that's just a lot of points. That's a lot of points in this rivalry.
All right, Bill.
Yeah, I'm staying with y'all, Navy.
All right, next up, Brian, Michigan Wolverines at the Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin favored by 10.
And it's at Wisconsin, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take Michigan. I think Wisconsin will win, but I think Michigan will cover that spread. I think 10's a little much.
All right, Bill?
I think it's a little much, but I'm going to go with Wisconsin. I think they're trying to prove a point also, so I'm going to stay with Wisconsin.
All right. Hell, I'm going to go with Bill, I guess. Grudgingly. Not a big Wisconsin fan ever. But the next game, Cal at Stanford. Stanford is favored by 17, Bill.
I'm going to go with Stanford. I don't know why. I don't even know why. I'm just going with Stanford.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Stanford. I just think that they'll be a little bit too much for Cal at home. They'll get that running game going, and I think they'll cover that.
Yeah. I just interviewed Wesley Walker a month ago and Jim Breach before that, two former Cal alumni, so I'm picking Cal. I think Cal's improved this year. They're not a great team, but this is a rivalry game. I think they can keep it closer than 17 points. Next up, another rivalry game. We got the UCLA Bruins at the USC Trojans. USC favored by 15, Brian.
I think that's a little too high. I'll take UCLA to cover. USC will win, but I think 15 is a little too high.
All right, Bill.
I'm going to hang with the Trojans. It's a lot of points, but I feel good about the Trojans winning.
And I'm going to go with Schmidt. I'm going to go with UCLA. I like Josh Rosen. I think he might be the most NFL-ready quarterback in the draft. Next game, there's no point spread on this. I just knew we had to bring it up because Alabama's playing freaking Mercer, Bill. Why is Alabama playing Mercer?
I have no idea. They didn't ask me for approval. So,
well, maybe you should give them a call and let them know that Mike Schmidt from now on said you get approval.
Let me tell you something. After last night, I'm glad they're playing Mercer because they need a little bit. They need a little bit easier week this week.
And you talk about last night's game. The thing that stands out to me is the guy that never gets mentioned for the Heisman, even though I did have him at like 3 or 4 last week, is Jalen Hurts, who, when the chips were down, drove them down the field to score and win that game. And people do not give him the credit he deserves. If you look at the Clemson National Championship game last year, well, the only reason Deshaun Watson had to go down and do something is because Jalen Hurts did right before that.
Jalen's a winner, man. I'm telling you. You know what he told them at halftime last night is they said he came in at halftime and told them that the train was pulling away from the station in the second half and they could either get on or get off, but he was the conductor. So, I mean, he can win. He can do amazing things, man. But our defense, we are in trouble right now on defense because we've lost so many good linebackers, and it was obvious last night. But,
yeah, and I was so close to picking that game right.
Yeah.
Because I was going to come on here and gloat the whole show, but it didn't work out. Mississippi State shit the bed at the end of the game. Bill, you want to pick Mercer, or Brian, you want to pick Mercer?
No, I think I'll stick away with Mercer on this one. We'll stick with Alabama.
Yeah, me too. In the last game, the Citadel at Clemson. Why, Brian?
Yeah, why?
Well,
maybe the Citadel should play Mercer and Alabama should play Clemson since they've all got open weeks.
Well, it's good. It's a good payday game, I guess. Yeah, Clemson will win this big.
Maybe they don't beat anybody big, Bill.
Now, remember this though about Citadel. They run the option.
Yeah, good for them.
They don't run it good enough.
They don't run it like Navy does.
No, they don't run it good enough. No.
Yeah, because if it was Navy in their favor, 18-point underdogs to Clemson, I would take Navy. But this is the Citadel. Bill, you got Clemson also, right?
Yeah, I got Clemson. But, the final score in the Clemson game really didn't indicate what happened yesterday. That was a close game yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure was.
But I also think this. It almost had to be expected because Jimbo Fisher's a good football coach. They've just had a lot of bad crap happen to him this year.
Yep, they have. He's been playing with a freshman inexperienced quarterback who's been getting his brains beat out all year. But they played a lot better than I thought they played. We're going to play. So, but Clemson,
I'm sure
I believe Clemson's going to win.
Yeah, Florida State will be back next year. I mean, this is a one-year thing. So.
Yep. Yeah.
But, all right, guys, it looks like we are done with another one of these shows. We're actually getting towards the end. We'll be doing, bowl previews and Final Four previews before long. Bill, any final words?
just it's getting interesting, guys. I mean, who would have thought Miami was going to be in the top 4 at any time during this year? And
especially
I don't think
2 weeks ago when we all picked Virginia Tech to beat them straight up.
Exactly. Who thought Miami would be in the top 4, and who thought Notre Dame would get hammered by Miami, and Georgia falling out and getting beat bad by Auburn. So, it's coming down to us, getting interesting. The game is becoming more and more important in 2 weeks.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, the one thing is there's a lot of, on paper, lopsided games this week, but in the history of college football, this is usually the week where you see some of these big upsets. So certainly not a reason not to watch, because this has always been that really good week for upsets. So don't be surprised if you don't see a few upsets this week.
All right, and guys, I want to remind you that next week will be the first time the College Football Pick'em Show has been live. We will be live on Spreaker. You can actually chat with us on Spreaker through there. You can type questions. You can type comments. You can make fun of Bill because he didn't think Mercer could beat Alabama, even though Mercer will. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But you can download our app on iTunes, which you can also listen to the show live then also. The show will be live at 8 o'clock Eastern Time next Sunday night, so make sure you come back and check us out then. Also, we will have the NFL Pick'em Show will be live this Tuesday night at 10 o'clock Eastern with me, Brian, Matt, normal crew. So if you listen to that, you can catch that live then. And tonight, the show will be posted here in a minute. So tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, we'll have our first ever live show with The Grueling Truth, where we will have our Inside Boxing Weekly show with me, Jeremiah Pricer, John Ein Reinhofer, maybe a surprise guest here or there. So make sure you go to the Spreaker website, find The Grueling Truth, like us, and anytime there's a live show, you'll get an email notifying you that The Grueling Truth's on the air. So for Brian Schmidt, Bill Searcy, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends